visual of hanging on. What are you hanging on to? And you gave us the idea of maybe taking you places you don't want to go. Also, I guess the concept of if you hang on to it, you can't have the freedom to go somewhere else. So I thought that was a great start. The one thing I would suggest, and they talked to me about it, it's an issue I am challenged with, is I did feel like you were pacing. There were times when I saw it seemed like an intentional move to the audience and things like that, which seemed to be you were doing it on purpose, but it also seemed like you were sort of wandering back and forth a little bit. So that's the one thing that I found distracting in the content. I thought was great though, and it was very motivational, very inspirational, and I would definitely keep the breakdancing in on the end of the thing that got our attention. Thank you.
Trevor, Brian went. Sorry,
it's all right. All right, Gene, I liked the speech. I thought it was great. I thought there was good content in it. And one of the things that I really like, sometimes we get to the inspirational speech, you know, because there's two speech contests that we do during the year, the inspirational contest and the humor contest later on in the year. Some people completely cut the two in half. And so when they get to the inspirational contest, it's dry, it's very emotional, and it's a motivational speech. They don't throw any humor in it. I love what you did in there. It absolutely caught us off guard with the breakdancing at the end. So there were some really good, fun parts in your speech, which I think will work very well. One of the things that I do want, first and foremost, as a military man, it kills me to see people that are talking to me with their hands in their pockets, especially when you're trying to relate to me. When you put your hands in your pockets, it's too comfortable, you get a little smug. That's the perception that it gives. So unless that's what you want to portray, keep your hands out of your pockets. There's so much that you can give out here and give to the audience, and that's really what you want to do, because you're trying to tell them something that they need to hear. If you come back into yourself, then you lose that. The other thing, I thought at the beginning, I was going to say that what you were doing with the fall, the stumble, the face plant, I was going to say that as a speaker, we don't actually have to go down on the ground and we don't have to actually do those actions. You can give that with your words, and you can give that with your hands, and the way you stumble, you fall flat on your face. You could do that. But with what you did at the end, you'll kind of have to make a decision on your own, because I think with falling on the ground and then getting back up and doing the breakdancing, you kind of tied those two parts together. So I love the speech. I thought it was good, and I think that all those parts are working pretty good for you.
Good. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, give it to me, Keith.
All right, Gene. Well, I'll tell you what, there are certainly a lot of things I really liked about the speech. I liked your sincerity. I liked there was a little bit of humor in there, and the dramatic gestures. I'm gonna take the opposite side of the coin here with what Trevor said. I think Darren LaCroix was his name. He won first place by face planting up on stage. So the big gestures that go out are really good. The one thing I will get on you about a little bit for a source of improvement was the initial clutch your hand, raise it up thing. If you're going 7th in a room of 8 speakers, it's pretty likely that everyone will clutch and go with you, because they've been sufficiently warmed up, they've laughed at some of the other speakers, and they've had a good time. If you're first one out the gate and you're draw number 1, and you say, everybody take your hand and raise it up like this, there are going to be other contestants in the room that won't raise their hand because they're competing against you. That person's spouse who's supporting her husband, she's not going to raise her hand either, because she's wanting him to win. These are funny little dynamics at a contest, but they exist. So when you just come on out and ask us to do this, this is a lot. This is a lot. But if you talk to us and got us to come along with you for some easier things first, then you could smoothly get us to do this. So if you started out earlier, not to change your whole speech, if you had something funny, then immediately we laughed, then you'd break the ice and we would do it. But in the lieu of that, as I think back to your speech, this is the front of your speech, this is the start of your speech. So this is kind of important to your speech. I think if you can get us along a little bit by just asking us a really easy question to answer in our heads, we'll do that. Maybe ask us to nod about something. Everyone will nod, including your contestants. Your opponent's wife, she'll nod too. And then just ask us to just grab your hand, just feel it in your hand, and as you're thinking about it, just go ahead and look around, and if you see most of the people are doing this, then go for it. Go ahead and raise those hands in the air. Now you'll have everyone raising their hand, because you went with some easier things and build up to it. Instead of just raise your hand and then you've got 30% of the room not doing it and 30% doing it and 70% not, that's going to weigh bad on your speech. But if you start us easy, get us to nod, then do this, squeeze it, feel of that, bring it, go ahead, bring it up, and you'll actually be able to see, I guarantee you'll get at least 80, 90%, if not 100% of the room. So that gesture, which is important to your speech, I just want you to do little things to build up to it instead of just asking us to do this.
Great.
That's it.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Cindy.
Okay, I'll say it very quick. They all say the wonderful things that I'm not going to say that. I think that one thing perhaps can make your speech better is, I think you waste a little bit of time in the beginning. You cannot like, I'm going to tell you what, and don't do that. Just save that time. Use it, lead into like, I'm just making that up, like that was Tuesday morning. You know, suddenly phone rings, I heard about something happened, I just lost $30,000, whatever the amount, you remember. So you bring in people into, seems like a movie. They want to know what happened. Then you back up the story a little bit. Then you talk about how hard you needed to let it go. And finally, what was the key point? And opened up, made you finally decide that this is the only way you can make it. Then you did it. So that way, I think, I think this way is you bring everybody into the situation that they already love you, they already feel the pain of yours. Then you are the one in control, really, to control their emotions, control their movements. Whatever you wanted them to do, they're going to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.